There are those like Ron Paul who have come out saying that they believe an economic crash worse than 2008 is on its way. And I don't think this is an outlandish affirmation. If there's an image that corresponds to the state of the world economy, I think it would be like that of a cruise ship on a never-ending cruise. On the decks you have every modern comfort and entertainment. The bands are playing, the theaters are full, the restaurants are crowded. There's an atmosphere marked with fun and laughter, and every effort is made to keep the party going. Yet behind this, almost surreal impression of no concerns, there are a lot of storms and internal problems that threaten the ship. Now, this image of a ship is not just my own. There are a lot of others that share this image and have used this image to describe our world economy. HSBC's chief economist, Stephen King, he claims that another recession is in the offing and that the world banking system is like that of the Titanic. In mid-May, he came out with a 17-page report titled The World Economy's Titanic Problems. If only to make matters worse, he says, not only are we in the situation of the Titanic, but there are no lifeboats should a crash or recession occur. Now, King is not the first expert nor the last to warn of a coming crisis, but what makes his analysis especially insightful is his look at the tools at hand to fight back. He notes that the present 6-year recovery is not like other recoveries. Traditionally, policymakers have employed a whole toolkit of things they could use to fight against recession and gradually adjust policies to bring things back to normal. But there's nothing normal about this recovery. To deal with the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, policymakers pulled out all the stops and threw everything they could at the problem. I think it made the problem worse, but that's what they did. And so to deal with the present crisis, all the stopgap, band-aid, knee-jerk solutions have been used to their fullest. The Fed has cut the rates to near zero. They can't cut them anymore. And all these measures just barely keep the recovery going. So should another recession appear on the horizon, King warns that there's nothing left to replenish our ammunition. There are very few lifeboats for the global Titanic economy now as it travels through iceberg-ridden waters. And at the same time, internal problems like uncomfortably high deficits, budget deficits, and record debt levels, all these impede a normal navigation. So King thinks that the situation is so fragile that anything could trigger a new recession, and I agree. A collapse in China, a lack of liquidity in pension or insurance funds, an abrupt rise in interest rates. Any of these events could lead to a crisis and a need for non-existent lifeboats. Now, King's solution, and I don't agree, is to do everything to avoid a new recession, even using up the few lifeboats that remain, and then, just hope for the best. Now, the problem with economists like King is they believe that economics is an exact science like physics, and they think the problem is just the mechanics of the ship and not the decision of the people aboard. Their solution consists of just tweaking the ship with quantitative easing and stimulus to better navigate. But these tinkerings have their limitations, since what really determines the direction of the ship is the actions of the people on board, not the ship itself. That's why economics can never be an exact science. It depends upon the nuances and free actions of men, which are just so unpredictable. So in addition to adjusting the ship, it's time to address what I call the frenetic intemperance of markets and our culture that throws the whole ship out of balance with its party economy. This idea that you have to have everything now, instantly, regardless of the consequences, it's tearing our economy and our culture apart. We need to start building lifeboats again. The problem is not just the ship. It's the people aboard. It's time to declare the party's over.